So Gimel. Siman Yud Zayin Siv Gimel. Haezer, where are we? We're just going on here in this page. I'm going out of Shulchan Aruch right now.
Nice.
Isha sholach ba'al l'mdina sayam ve'hidu olav shemeis afilu eid echad afilu eid evdei shifcha isha ikarev muteres. So if a woman or man goes overseas, right, meaning goes far away, and they testify about him that he died. I'm a little interested why Dafka Medina, why Medina Sayyam? What if he goes one city over and dies and they testify about him?
Or what about just down far away? I think it's just an expression to me. He traveled far away.
No,
that,
so we know,
communication is not so sudden.
The Ehven Brura did say that Medina Sayyam equals far away. Right. But why far away, Dafka?
Because communication won't be immediate.
That's the case maybe when he's close, likely they would
know. They would know. Also, close enough, you could do smoke signals. You know the joke of the Native American chief. He goes for a drive off the reservation to go shopping at Costco or whatever.
Yeah.
And he gets a flat tire, so he sets up a little. He's in a place with no cell service, and somewhere in the Midwest. So he starts some smoke signals to let them know, hey, I need help. And they're like, what's the matter? He says, I have a flat tire. We'll be there in about an hour. But what he doesn't realize is that right behind him is one of the testing grounds for the nuclear bomb testing program. And then they set off a bomb that makes a huge mushroom cloud. And then right away, from the reservation comes some smoke cloud saying, all right, we'll be there in 10 minutes. Anyway, I think it's just because when you're close enough, there's people who are regularly commuting, even though it's another city.
Right, it's not.
People regularly commute between cities.
This kind of situation is more likely to happen in that kind of a way than
Yeah.
Even nowadays, the fact that you would have to rely on 1-8 and nobody knows nothing and whatever, and you find finally one person who heard something or whatever. Right, it's more likely when it happens far away than when it happens. I mean, nowadays, honestly, it would have to be in some crazy country or something. Even like between here and Europe is not far away anymore.
It's not far away, but I think you still have. There's certain things that get communicated regularly on like social media and stuff. There's other things that only really get communicated when people are in person. So like here, think about what are those groups, right? The WhatsApp group of people who regularly drive between, right? So Cleveland and New York, maybe a little bit Baltimore, there's a place that people are regularly driving back and forth from. But
right.
A place is far away, like how often are people coming between here and LA? Like
no,
even though
still,
it's
but even here in LA, it would be unlikely that the guy just disappeared and nobody knows nothing. There's hospitals and there's things and there's records and there's reports and there's you know what I mean.
Say Melbourne.
Right.
Say Melbourne. Even though it's a big from community, the people are not coming regularly. People are not communicating regularly between the cities. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
but if a guy is there and he passes away within a second, they put out they're asking
Yeah, I think because of today's social media, when people out, but usually they'll put it on.
Remember, over there, far away,
on the website.
Over there, right. Far away, there was no instant phone calls and hey, did anybody hear about him or whatever?
There's no COL Live article.
This is more like he's part of a unit that went to Africa or something.
Right.
And one of the other soldiers said, he was missing in action. One of the other soldiers said, no. When we were retreating, I saw him. What's it called? He was passed away over there on the side in Tabulita, whatever.
Right.
So it would be.
I think I remember hearing the story.
Situation would be less common today than it was back then.
What's interesting is I remember, I think I heard this situation, they bring up the military thing. I remember hearing of a situation, and maybe this is Rabbi Fox back when I was doing Yodah in South Africa who told this over, but that the Rabbanut in Israel had to deal with it because there was a soldier who was missing in action, and they presumed him to be dead because there wasn't a time that they were taking hostages. And so the Rabbanut said she could get remarried. That was the whole thing. In fact, actually, and then he showed up. Actually, if I remember, I might be misremembering. There might actually be like some miracle story or something where she just had this feeling she shouldn't get married, and it's about some whole story. Maybe it could be Googleable after this year. But yeah, there's modern day with regards to that, because with military skirmishes, very difficult. Which is why there is such a concept of, when it comes to being in the military, where someone goes, they should write their wife a get, give it to the bezdin, give to her in case he doesn't show up, in case he does go missing. And even if he survives, but it's not fair to let her, be stuck.
Right.
It's a very sad case if the guy's a kohen, at least if he's not a kohen, they can get remarried, but
right.
Well, unless she moves on.
No, she can't. Once she marries somebody else,
they can't. Right, that's what I said. Unless she moves on, but yeah, absolutely. Anyway, all right, fine.
Fine. So now, so a person and the aid comes, they say that they witness that he died, even if it's one aid. Even if it's a servant or a maidservant or a woman or even his wife or a relative, which so then she's allowed to, meaning we consider her a widow, and she's allowed to remarry. Which usually in all these cases, these people are not valid for witness. To witness, meaning, let's say if it was a financial case, none of these people would be allowed to be a witness in this.
Like we said last time, the whole thing of, if there's financial aspects to this,
right. Furthermore, we have also Furthermore, even in a criminal case, a regular criminal case, these people would not be. Meaning, these people are generally not for any other purpose accepted as a valid witness. Furthermore, one witness is usually not accepted at all, even if it's a valid witness. You need two witnesses. And now he goes a step further. Afilu aid mipi aid, even a witness from the mouth of another witness. Right? Again, a woman heard from an aid, or an aid heard from a woman, or the woman heard from a different woman, or one relative heard from another relative. Whatever it is, meaning as removed by degree. It's still Shadim L'Eidazeh. For this particular testimony, they are acceptable witnesses. Now, how about a Psuli Eidas? How about somebody who intrinsically is an invalid witness, meaning he's not invalid witness just for these people. It's an invalid witness, period. Like we had in Eidas is different. Somebody who's like a gambler or a thief, or all these kind of things that they're brought up, and then there's now some of them are from the Torah, they're invalid, and some only the really from the Torah they're valid, but the midrabanon they were stringent that even these people also are no good for witness. So in this case, for this testimony to take her out of being an aguna, there will accept them if they're psuli rabbanon. Aval psuli edus deiraisa psulim. But if according to the Torah they're an invalid witness, then you can't. There's no room to bend that. So they're still no good. And even them, if they're not, that is, we're talking about if they can bear witness or not. But what if they give it over according to their what do they call it? According to their simplicity, meaning they gave it over, not meaning to give testimony, just in the course of a regular conversation, where they didn't know that this is going to be used as testimony of any sort. Then it's fine. Kusi. Also I guess like a non-Jew, right? Or a Jew who's
hectic. Heretic.
Yeah, heretic. He's giving himself over to idols, or he denies the whole Torah, for example. So same thing is if he gives it over, during the course of a conversation, not intending on giving testimony. Also, he's trusted. Haga loy bo eid b'drachim haniskarim rak yotza kel havara be'ir shemeis ein mesinas ishte. If it just came out a rumor rather than someone specifically testified, I mean, either specifically testified or specifically said it during the course of a conversation. If it just came out as a rumor, this is no good. You cannot marry his wife. Okay, let's see. Chagas mechekik. Afilu ha'eid. Well, I guess let's start with Beis Shmuel because he starts earlier. Afilu eid echad. Even one witness. The eid echad nemon kan. And that one witness is trusted here. V'alma kaimalon eid echad eina nemen neged chazaka. Ma shekasa b'dalad simin chuf chav zayin or b'yededeya simin chuf chav zayin. Like we know from Yededeya 127. The Khan he bechazkas eishes ish, and here she has a chazaka of an eishes ish, which is a very stringent thing we're talking about. This chazaka, she's a married woman, and usually even not such stringent things, you don't accept one witness that one witness can't remove a chazaka. Can't remove the status quo. Can't remove the presumptive status. Why? Mishum dekane kilu chazal mishum takana saguna. Here, the sages were lenient because of the rulings for an aguna, that she shouldn't be left unable to marry, shouldn't be stuck not able to marry. Ubereish perik isharabo and Yevamis over there. It's Isa Hatam. It's there. It says the reason the Chazal samchu the hidavka shapir mishum hachumra shechmiru olah b'seifa, because of the chumra that we're stringent on her in the end. Meaning what? Because it would be so stringent. If we would not let her get divorced, it would be a much more stringent thing in the end. No, was that the whole thing here?
Well, the whole thing was that she's going to lose out if
Right.
we find out that it was false. Then yeah, she just divorced. She doesn't get to be married to any of these guys. Like it's all over for her.
Right.
Because she's going to lose out. We're going to be machmir later. She doesn't get to stay married.
Right.
We find out that it wasn't.
So therefore, we're in the beginning
live.
here. We're right. More make it. We give her more leeway in this thing.
See, the rabbis try to do balance where we can. Like we try to balance it out.
It's also because she's going to be stuck in such a horrible situation. So we make it fine.
We're trying to help people. That's been a good one.
Yeah.
And we speak loud to me.
Not only that, and then also if not, then we're exposing her to very grave sins and things like that.
Right.
If she's alone, she has no options. She has what's it called? We're exposing her to the what do you call it? The taivus of which are very stringent.
Right.
Because then she's going to be in a relationship as a married woman with somebody else. That's a very usually stringent thing. The reason is because it's things that are going to become revealed. Meaning this truth is going to come out. If he's alive, he's going to show up eventually. Unless he's specially hiding. Even if the servant, if he's a servant, if they witness a servant, right? Even though usually an eved is the same as the equivalent of someone who is invalid for witness from the Torah, that from sinning. He's saying that stam eved, right? Is we suspect, I guess, that he's mitzad sinning or whatever. But here he's saying it must be we're talking about that it's known that he's an eved, but he's a kosher, that he's not a thief and these kind of things, or any of the things that would invalidate him from the Tatum. Even though in whatever other case he was talking about over there, it was talking about a servant that he's not good because of being suspected of stealing and these kind of things, I guess. Chelkas mechekik test. Afilu ho'ed evedei shifcha. B'gemara amirin b'kam medukti. The stam avodim perutzim ba'averis. So this is what the Beis Shmuel was talking about there. That it says in the Gemara that in several places that stam slaves are considered to be loose in sins, loose people and sinners. Like it says nimtza ganav kubiyustus igil, right? If they found that either a thief or a cubist, meaning what do you call it? Somebody who plays dice.
Gambler.
Yeah, some dice player, a gambler. Yeah. But it's just cute how they call him a kubiyustus, a cuber.
Cubist.
Yeah, cubist, a cuber, yeah.
Throwing dice.
Yeah, right, a dice thrower, yeah.
He's a cube dude.
Yeah. Like the Rambam, like the Rambam writes, back to Zvav Malach's Mechira, Al Kain Kosav Atur be Yudalid Simin Aleph, therefore, in the first Yudalid Simin Aleph, the Tur writes, Shestam Eved Ein Emen Al Shchita. Ab Yeridei Simin Aleph, I guess. Because I think Shchita would be in Yeridei, wouldn't be here. So that would make sense. That he's not trusted in Eved, right? Because and in fact that would make sense because in Hilchos Shchita, right? I mean, there was, to be fair, a long time ago since I've been over Hilchos Shchita in the Mechaber or whatever. Especially since usually we tend to go over it from the Simcha Chadasha rather than in the Shulchan Aruch. But in either case, the whole sugi of shchita starts out mihem akshedim lishchit. Who are the people who are kosher to shech, right? And like over there, like it talks about, like for example, that a woman is really midiraisa. A woman can shech no problem. She's trusted to shech. The only thing is that the Rabbanon were gezer there because they felt that a woman is more likely to be misalif, to get lightheaded from the sight of blood.
And then they might not do it properly. You're saying?
Right, and in fact, even a man who gets lightheaded from the sight of blood can't be a sheikhet. Which I always found funny that they learn Hilchos Shchita first, and then you get the hidah from the sheikhet. The main now. The pile when you get the hidah from the sheikhet, because there's two parts of shchita. You have to get the anal halachas, you get tested by the rav, and then you get tested by the sheikhet. The main principal thing that the sheikhet is checking, and you only have to check 3 in front of him technically. And what's he saying, that he's bearing witness that ain't a misalif, that you don't get lightheaded from blood.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Now, practically speaking, it's actually when we went for several days. We shechted probably hundreds of chickens, and he was watching us to see that we understand that we're not pushing, that we're not that we're not stopping, that in middle all the other things that are required. Plus in the first place he would have to teach us how to hold the chicken properly. The tfisa, right? So it was really almost like it was almost like a residency by the sheikhet for a few days. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, but really me'ikar hadin, the reason to go and get a hidah is that you don't feel lightheaded. So anyway, so that's what it starts out with. It starts out with who is kosher to shech, right? And over there.
Interesting by the way, that by shchita there's specific rules of this. Like you have to go to another sheikh, etc. By Mila, I don't think there's any such. I don't remember in the Chaber or anywhere else that says specifically you have to go to another mile or anything. It's just more like, does the guy know how to do it? Great. If he knows how to do the cut, then great.
And there's no Indian of Einim Misalif there.
I don't remember
because I'll tell you, I find it.
I don't remember. Let's put it this way. I don't remember seeing anything about Einim Misalif. There's definitely nothing about that you have to learn the halachas first. It's much more focused on Similar to like the letter of the Rebbe Rashab, a lot of people, that you make sure the guy knows that he does it well. That's it.
Right. In other words, it's not so much about him, about his trustworthiness. Has the bris been done right?
Right. Now, like definitely should have your Shemayim. Definitely should have, like, these things are talked about. But what's necessary for the mitzvah is much more that the bris was done. Was the arla pretty removed?
Right.
And then, we want to do it in our way, that it's done as separate things, and the tzitza is done, etc. But it's not, like, it's just, I think both cover similar things, but in different ways. That's what I'm saying.
It's actually kind of, I'm right. Practically speaking,
that it's like,
he covers the same thing.
Yeah, you must make sure that he's not going to be woozy, he's not going to be queasy, and he has to learn the halachas and make sure, go to another sheikhet to make sure that he knows what he's doing. I just don't remember seeing any lashon by Mila, whether it's Mechaber, Ramah, Da'az, Shach, or anywhere else, that says you have to go to another moil and make sure that he knows.
Right, even though from a practical sense, it's the same idea, really. It comes out.
You would, but exactly. But like what you're saying, like you go for 3, do 3. Now practically, you did a bunch because it's better. He sees you do a lot. See how you are after getting tired. How often you're going to sharpen your knife, and how if you're sharpening,
are you right? Not only that, all the practical. And what's interesting is when it comes to your checking your knife, both the Rav checks that when he's giving you what he called, and the Sheikh checks it by the Yodah. They both that part, they both check your knife to see if you're that you've learned properly to shtel chalif.
Right. Well, it's interesting because the Sheikh should be knowing to check his own knife, but the Rav just practically also would want to check the knife because he's the one putting his stample on, so he wants to make sure this knife is properly.
No, not just that. You know what he does? You know what he does? He goes. You have to bring him. You have to bring him a clean knife, right?
Right.
Then you bring him the clean knife. He'll like, what do you call it? They'll tell you, okay, turn around. And he'll like take the knife and ding it on the side of the table, ding, right? Make a few, what's it called? He'll check them, and he'll very small ones, right? He'll try to make very small ones, and then he gives it back to you and says, "Where's the begimis?"
Basically, ones that you can easily sharpen out, that you can easily just
ones that you wouldn't have to. Well, first of all, what's the big deal if he makes if he takes an axe and makes a thing in it, and you find it? What's the big deal that you found it?
Right.
First of all, he wants it to be very tiny ones that you can barely feel.
Right, you're gonna find with your thumbnail.
Can you find the begimis, and then then he'll tell you, okay, go now go shtel them out. Now go take those begimis out.
So that's where the real skill is. Come back again. And that's the real skill. If you can make a begima that's so light.
No, so I guess over the years of him doing that.
Right, I'm sure. Yeah, right. I'm just saying, like that probably takes a lot of skill itself just to make. Just the right amount of it's a begima, just enough that it's a problem, but not so much that it's going to be too obvious,
right?
Too easy.
He's done it enough that he knows to make just the tiny, like, exactly how to do it. That it's to make it harder to. He might even take it and not make a begima. He might like almost like just rub it a little bit on something. So as opposed to a begima, it's just like like where your fingernail slows down on it, but it's not an actual begima. Because that's also
right.
It has to be like not just chad, it has to be chaluk, it has to be completely like oil, like right. So yeah. Anyway, so we know from there by Hilchah Shchita that Eved einin neman ala shchita. A servant, a slave is not trusted on to shecht. Why? Because stam avodim prutzim ba'avedus.
Right.
The imkain kosher, the cheshem, the gazlan, the iraisa, possibly the sisha. So this is what the Beis Shmuel was talking about in the end over there. Also the same thing. So wait a second. If a gazlan the iraisa, a thief the iraisa, right from the Torah, he's puzzled for edus isha. He's not allowed to give edus. Even in this case, we said right that a psul the iraisa, someone who's puzzled from the Torah, like a gazlan, which that's one of the Torah psulim. He's no good for this edus even. So how is it? So the lamiya avid kosher. So why is the slave kosher? If we say that stam avodim puts him avedus, the efshe the Yisrael bal aveda got him eved. So maybe a regular Jew who's a balaveda is worse than an Eved. Why? Because the Eved, it's just a chazaka that stam avodim are, whereas this guy, for sure he is. And again, since we're trying to be lenient here, so the only person that we make, since the guy, a regular guy who's a Goslin, okay, but we know he's a Goslin. It's not that, maybe he's a Goslin. Right? It's a fact. Right. We know for sure he's a Goslin. Whereas this guy, fine, he's an Evet, so there's a chazaka that he's a Goslin, and therefore for most things we're going to treat him like a Goslin. But in this case, since we're looking to be more lenient, so we don't consider him a Gav. Ein bebach dolei kosav king. The Bach, I guess, does not agree with that.
Right.
So that's what he says, and he only says that the Bach doesn't write this. Now, luckily, the Beis Shmuel did fill us in on what the Bach did write, right? Because that was the end of that Beis Shmuel. Was tzarich leimer the Airi can be a dua shul kosher. V'chein kos of a Bach, and that's what the Bach writes. So the Bach writes is that no, he doesn't say that, because what the Chalkas Mechekik is saying is in this case, even though he has a chazaka that he's like a Goslin, but he's not mamish a Goslin, as opposed to the case of a regular Goslin where we know he's a Goslin. And therefore, he's a psul deiraisa. The Eved, since it's not really known he's a Goslin, it's just his case like a Goslin, we don't consider him a psul deiraisa in this case. Whereas the Bach says, doesn't agree. The Bach says, no, a stam Eved is taka we consider like a Goslin. So here it's talking about by specifically an Eved that we know he's a kosher. Why? Because an Eved has what? Yes, he has a chazaka that he's also a Goslin. But what if you know that this Eved is particularly a very ethical and he's and he's not for sure not a Goslin. So this is that's what we're talking about here, says the Bach, and that the Beis Shmuel brings. Now we said vafilu eid mipi eid, so sivkat and yud aleph in the Beis Shmuel. V'chein lechumre mahani ad eid mipi eid shulchan. This is a two-edged sword, says the Beis Shmuel. Because also lechumra, it's not just that we're going to accept, since we're accepting a witness from a witness that he's dead. We're also going to accept that if one witness says he's alive. That what's it called? They saw him alive in what's it called? It was he was partying out in Giza. I saw him over there, like whatever, right? So
saw him downstairs 770.
Yeah.
Hiding out by the children's room.
Yeah, that's what I said. He was partying out in Giza. It's the same guys. Then once we chopped them and put film on them, then they instead of partying in Giza, they party in downstairs 770.
There you go.
Is that right? There's a place and time to party. What do you think? The problem isn't partying. The problem is partying in the wrong place and the wrong time with the wrong people. Anyway, so Ken Kos B'Tshuvas Merino the Rashdam in Nuntes Eishes. Now he brings up the same thing we had before in a different sugya. How about Eishes Eliyahu Navi or Eishes Bishub ben Levi? Muteres. She's allowed. Why? Because her husband, even though he didn't die, right? She's saying, wait, how do you know that her husband? Oh, look, it did the balloons again. I guess that's the balloon thing. I don't know.
Bubble.
Yeah, the balloons. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so how do you know? So wait a second, but he didn't die. He didn't give her a divorce. He didn't die. Doesn't make a difference if he died or not. The fact is, he changed his mitzias. He is no longer a human.
Uh-huh.
He's now an angel.
Right. So when people are talking about the definition of marriage between a man and a woman, yeah, forget man and woman. It's between a human and a human.
Right. It has to, first of all, this man has to be a human and this woman has to be a human. Right. It's like you can spend the whole time arguing
which, by the way,
is is a male or female or what's it called, right? Okay,
if you want to get,
but it's well, what if it's not a human? It's a race, you know. By the way, there's other kinds of shindalid or something, a malach or whatever. It has to be a human first of all.
That's what I was going to say. If you want to get a little sci-fi for a second, if Taka, now I'm not going to get into this whole sugya that Rebbe said once to somebody that yeah, there might be life out there, but there wouldn't be a medaber because that's only in this planet where the different Torah was given. Right. But anyway, if let's say there was a medaber on another planet,
in other words, according to this,
it's still not a valid marriage. You can't marry them.
According to this, kedushin are not tafsim by Klingons.
Yeah, that's what it would.
You can't get married to a Klingon. It's not a kosher marriage.
Another type of life form, even though it's humanoid. I mean, this is even more so. Like there used to be a humanoid, but kosher changed something else.
That's not a human anymore. Right.
Not human anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. So what's the nafkamina? Same like we said, the truth is last time. The reason there was more nafkaminas was because we were learning it in Ehven Brura, which we expanded on a lot more. What's the nafkamina? Who says they're the only ones that it happened to? What if it happens again? Such a thing could happen again.
Right.
It's a very beautiful and hopeful sort of thing. That, like, you know, we think of these things as like things that were from before. No, this is a thing that could happen again.
Anyone who wants to try to challenge a Lubavitcher who says something about the Rebbe, there you go.
Yeah, ta-da.
In halacha, it could happen again. There's room to say.
Yeah,
because I've heard that before, where people go, "That's only Olanovi. That's only a Shulchan Levi."
No, here the nafka is in Mizke Ishkamesa. Now, I'm not smart enough to know if that to know if anything like that happened, but
that's different.
But at the same time, it's possible.
Could it? Yeah. Is it possible?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fine. So that's an afkamina. Is such a thing could happen again, and therefore he's bringing this down so that we should know what is the halacha in the case of such a person. Can his wife remarry? And the answer, according to the Beis Shmuel, is yes, because he's no longer a human; he's now a malach. Avo psuli eidos, right? We said how about somebody that's apostle for eidos? Hainu psuli machmas aveda, somebody who because of certain sins becomes invalid for eidos. Which, like we said before, that it depends if there's certain ones that are from the Torah, that certain sins, like we said before, like a gazlan makes you so apostle midiraisa, and there were certain other ones that you're not apostle midiraisa, but the Rabbanon were machmir that even these sins also you're no good to bear witness. However, in this case, they that's waived. In this case, only the actual ones that are a problem from the Torah. We will be no good for such an edus.
Is there like a process where the Bezin would put out a kol kaida? This person did tshuva. They're now like Reish Lakish. Was there a certain point where like Rabbi Yochanan got up and said, "Okay, everybody"?
Yes, I believe so. Somebody who did tshuva is again. First of all, the fact that he's not good for edus, I believe also it's not just I'm saying he's a gazlan, so he's no good for edus. He has to be an actual, convicted gazlan, so to speak.
That's a declaration.
Right.
This guy can no longer,
or possibly alternatively, where it's like an absolutely widely known thing that he's a gazlan, maybe also. Now, if he did tshuva, either it's widely known or he's a convicted shuvinik, whatever it is, I guess based in declares, or alternatively, it's just that's a known thing that he changed his ways. He's not a gazlan anymore.
I sentence you to 120 years.
Don't quote me. Don't quote me on any of that. I remember that. I do remember that sugya is discussed in Edus. Actually, is what happened about children, and what are, and not only that, what are the qualifications, for example, and even there, it depends on what Haezer, by the way, because certain Haezeras he has to go and dress in black and only black and walk with his head down, and there's a whole thing of what he has to do for this again, and so it's not whatever, but there is in fact such a process. and without looking at it, I don't remember exactly which Avedas are which and which ones requires, just that
Right.
he proclaims that he's now not going to do it anymore versus we know for a fact that we see that it's come up. For example, that's one of the things is like that the opportunity for him to do this Aveda came up again and he didn't do it.
And he's able to
I don't
refuse it,
know,
right?
depending on the Aveda, and there's different opinions of to what degree he has to do what. So now, Dalit. Hakel nemonim lohoid la'iduzu. Everybody is we trust to testify for this edus. Chutz michamisha noshim. Sides for 5 women. Sheches koson seinei zu. That the chazaka, the presumption is that they hate each other. She'ein meidis b'misas bailo. Why? Shema yiskavnu le'osra olav v'adayin hukayim. Because maybe what they're trying to do is get her to remarry, and so now she becomes osra on the husband even though he's alive. So there's certain people there's certain women that hate each other so much that we suspect that they might have this other agenda, and therefore we don't trust them. And who are they? And these are they. Pesach Matzah Umar. Now, Chamusa.
In-laws?
That's like, her, I guess her mother-in-law, right? Because Chamia would be her father-in-law. So it would be her mother-in-law, plus her father-in-law, not a woman. So it would be her mother-in-law. And adds that afilu eina ata chamusa. Rak im yevama, but rather she is she was miyabim. I'm not sure exactly what he means there, but I guess I'll say it more. Hopefully, somebody will clarify there exactly what it means. Ubas chamusa, and the daughter of her mother-in-law. So, but I guess it's specifying. I guess it doesn't mean any sister-in-law. It means Dafka, sister-in-law, who's the daughter of the mother-in-law. And let me just make sure I'm getting all of these right, what they are. We are in 4. Okay, so first of all, that was afilu eina ata chamusa, rak em yevama. Right, so it's the mother of her I guess the guy who is required to do yibum on her, right? Meaning it's that if the guy's alive, he has to do, meaning either her mother-in-law, right, who's the mother of the. So we're saying why the mother-in-law? Because the mother-in-law, it's her son you're married to, right? She wants you to become usher on her son because she hates you. Additionally, the Ramah is bringing, even if it's not now her mother-in-law, but it's gonna be her mother-in-law, right? Her potential mother-in-law, meaning the mother of her of her Yavama, the mother of. So let's say the husband dies, and let's say we know for a fact the husband dies.
But then it's already her mother-in-law. Not a
oh no, but no. But that's not the point. The point is, but we're not relying on her testimony for the first husband. We know he died right here. His dead body is laying right down in front of us. He's dead.
Well,
the mother-in-law can't. We don't need her to be a witness for that.
Right.
But now there's a requirement of her other son to marry you. Right. So we're talking about that she's going to lie about that other son who we don't know where he is right now. She's going to lie about that he died.
She doesn't want him to marry her
because she doesn't want him to marry you. Yeah. Also, the other brother.
That's all she's thinking about.
That's all she's thinking about when her dead son is laying before her. Is the other son shouldn't marry this? You know.
She's like, I'm finally free of this horrible daughter-in-law. Let me just lie to the best
you
they'll declare
my
her.
First son already. He died from a heartache that you caused, and now you want to do it to my other son. Right?
Like, you already killed one of my boys with that terrible cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll let you get the other one.
Right. So that's what he's coming to add. He's coming to add not just the mother-in-law from the first husband. Let's say we know the first husband's dead. There's no contention on that. It was the basin came, they put a stamp on his dead forehead. Mace, he's dead, finished, he's done.
There it is.
Now where's the brother? We don't know. And she's testifying he's dead. No, we don't trust her. Even though usually we would trust Krevim, but most Krevim don't have this special sort of hate that that's reserved for, right?
In-laws, the difference between in-laws and outlaws.
Right. So now you have the daughter, right? The Bas Chamusa, the daughter of that, meaning it means her sister-in-law, but it's not any sister-in-law. It's Dafka, the sister-in-law who is the daughter of that woman. Because it could be it's just a sister-in-law from the father.
Oh, okay.
So it means the sister-in-law who is the sister-in-law through that same mother, right?
Gotcha.
Vitzarasa, and the one who makes her tzaris, that means a contending wife. So let's say, for example, there's two wives to this man, and he dies, and one of the wives says, "I saw him dead. You can remarry." Really, she wants to wait. She herself won't get remarried because she knows he's really not dead.
Right.
You'll get remarried, and now she can have him out to herself.
Nice.
Very,
very nice of her. Very friendly.
The Yivamta. Who's Yivama? Yivamta means the wife of the brother, meaning the one brother died for sure, right? Now you have to marry the other brother, right? Because the one you were married to, you didn't have any children.
Right.
So that brother's wife, because now you're going to be contending for her husband. So she says, my husband died. So you should go remarry him, become Haezer on him, so he doesn't have to worry about you. Right? Same idea. Bas Baila. And the daughter of her husband. Whose husband? I guess a daughter from a different marriage from the husband, like a stepdaughter.
Stepdaughter, right?
Yeah. V'chein hi lo yisa'id lahem. And she also can't testify, and this is from the tour that he brings down, the Haggah brings down. She cannot testify for them, meaning, I guess, the other way around. They can't testify for her, and likewise, she may not testify for any of them, because the same thing. Um, Tagis mechekik chutz mechamish anoshim b'shotei geberim perek isha shalim hatik loshin riyaz she zichorim hadeimen la'ilu hanoshim kegoin chamea o ben chamea yivamu o ben baila nemonim laha'id lo v'hadibam nemon. So he says basically that the corresponding men that we said to these 5 women, right? The corresponding men, the son of the mother-in-law, the etc., right? The corresponding men to these relationships that have a similar relationship. Them you can trust. I guess it's not the same as what do you call it? There's like a feud between women or something. However, this is only if they're not set for him. But if the outcome of this is that he's making this woman through his testimony mutter to himself, he's not trusted to make her mutter to himself. So she's still usher on this witness. Why? Because the other way around, we're gonna suspect that he has an agenda the other way around, and therefore he's bringing this testimony because he wants it first for himself. So we can trust him, but so long as his testimony does not make her available to him. Ad kam l'shem b'kitzur. That's in short. That's his what he says. So at the first glance, it would seem that the son of her mother-in-law and her brother and the Yavama, right, is the same. Would not be the same person. The Chur, that would be the same person. So he's just saying that it would seem we're talking about saying the same thing. That's also considered. He's considered one of those people. And this whole thing comes from Yerushalmi, and the Chalkes Mechekik says that I was in a tshuva. I spoke about it at length. Can the Yavam, right? Meaning the brother who needs to take her in now. So he has 2 options, right? He can marry her, or he can do chalitza. He can right. That's the thing with tying the shoe, where he says, I don't want to marry this what do you call it, right? And she spits on the ground in front of him. There's the whole thing, right? He doesn't want to take on give children to his wife's brother and extend the name of the family, whatever, his brother's name. In either case, so what happens? So he says, we know that he's not trusted. If he says my brother died, so now I'm going to marry her, right? No, we don't trust him. Why? Because he has an agenda here too, right? We suspect he has an agenda. However, what if he doesn't plan to take her into his house? Rather, he plans to do chalitza, to do this special kind of divorce that happens in this case. So there's a question there. Maybe she could be. Now he doesn't say doesn't bring what his maskana is there, how he rules there. He just mentions that he discusses that there. Hamisha noshim hanal the einin amonis lahatir gamkein einin amonis lesser, right? Just like we said before, just like all these same people before who we said they could testify and make her muter, right? Make her allowed to marry. They can also testify. All those same people can testify and say, "Hey, we saw him alive." It goes both ways, a 2-edged sword, right? If you can testify the one way, you can testify the other way. The same holds true. Here's it says the Chag Mechekik that all these people who are not allowed to be matir her are also not allowed to asa her. They're also, we don't trust them to say he's alive or he's dead. Either we trust for both or we trust for none.
Trusting a nun?
Huh?
That's true. They were trusting a nun? That's true.
What? I don't know.
I said, not a nun.
No. Hagam me div so he's bringing the words of the Mechaber in that he says in a different place. There's a lot of spoilages here. meaning a lot of breakings of the chazaka, basically means, I guess. First of all, the brother, the witness is the brother of the dead guy. Right? I mean, he's talking about there's a lot of things that usually would spoil a testimony. For the fact that he's the brother's the brother of the guy, of the dead person.
Right.
And we know there's a whole Mishnah on that we learned that a person is not trusted to say that my brother died in order that he should take the brother's wife. Yivam is daf kuf yud ches on base. Afal pi shebenidun didan efsher yesh lo isha bonim v'lo shayich yibum. Even though it's possible in this case, it's possible she has children. And therefore, she's not. At that point, she can't marry him anymore. She can't marry the brother. The only instance she can marry the brother, and indeed it's a mitzvah to marry the brother, is when she has no children from the dead brother. Once she has children from that brother, there's no what's it called? The and even if she doesn't have children, today we don't do yibum. In our day and time, we still have to do chalitza, because you have to make her putter from the yibum, right? You have to, otherwise she's not allowed to marry anybody but the brother even today. So, but we don't have her marry the brother today. So, but still they have to do. So but you always do chalitza in these cases only. Mikol makim ein lemed mi'achad einamen liyibum hu hadin the einamen lachalitza. Still, we don't say that since we don't trust him for yibum, we also don't trust him for chalitza. V'kvar nishalti min agoyim harab de Lublin. Who was it? Mirenu something Hershel. In such a case. And actually the Mechaber hints to this kind of thing later. Oh no, I guess the Rav from Lublin asked him. And I answered him at length. That it would seem, I guess he doesn't. It seems like he's not answering very exactly straight up, but it would seem that if she has children already, that he's allowed to, because why? Because he's not. He doesn't. There's no yibum. He has no. The whole problem is really the fact that he has a vested interest in the yibum. So here there is no yibum. Based in Shali, and he marchik atzmi mizeh. Afilu li yisnif lahatir. He says, but the truth is that I am afraid to give psak in this matter, to give. So he says, really, he says his opinion is that if she has children and there's no yibum, that he should be able to be matir. However, he's afraid to state that as an all-encompassing psak, because he's afraid to paskin in these matters. And any aguna that's not under his beis din, he he distances himself from this, even to be a factor to make her mutter. Why? Because it's such a stringent thing. The whole, in other words, we're trying to be makil. At the same time, let's not forget that we're talking about an Eishes Ish here, and he's afraid. So listen, if it's my based in my based I have to a local aguna. I have a responsibility, and therefore I have no choice but to do my best to pass in the best way. But he says if it's not in my based I keep myself far from this because I'm afraid to pass on these things. But still, God forbid that I should completely keep myself. he's in a very tough case, like in a catch 22. On the one hand, he's terrified of paskening. At the same time, like Chalil Ali, not Chas v'Shalom, I shouldn't pasken at all on this thing. He had this tshuva. I guess Mechalkes Mechekik had this after his passing. Chaval al the avdin v'loim mishtakchen, and the woe unto what is that on the woe unto the, I guess it's a last trumas or whatever.
I don't know.
And this psak is like a last trumas or something like this. Okay, let me see. I think let me see. I may be being summoned. I guess let's finish this one debate, the corresponding Beis Shmuel at least. Yeah, maybe we can finish the whole thing already. So the Beis Shmuel says, "Chutz mechameshes noshim, ve'imeiz ba'al zev v'nisha la'acher." If this husband dies and she is left to another, me'idim noshim elu. Then they can be made. Meaning if she's not going to be left to one of them, because you're saying, she what's it called? Let me see what are we talking about exactly. So the husband dies, and she's left to another. I guess that means that she's not. I don't know. She got married to an She got married already to somebody else.
She got remarried.
So in this case, she's already usher on the first husband.
Right.
And whether he is this husband, whether the second husband, the new husband that's not related to them, whether he's alive or not, it has no bearing on because what's the whole thing we're worried about is that if it's the husband that's actually that we're talking about, this is the one we're witnessing on. They want her to become usher on him, so they'll lie about that one. But here it's a different husband, it has nothing to do with them. What do they care if he's married? Right. If the other guy is married to her or not? As long as she's not married to anyone in their family, they don't care.
Right.
Or at least they don't care to the point where they're going to lie about such a thing.
Right.
Right. So then, even though before they hated her because and they wanted her out of their family, but she's already out of their family, so it doesn't make a difference. Can't cause it because of Mishnah or Rambam. Because of Mishnah. Rambam mevur the tzarosa eina mevi lezu haget afal gav the tzarosa nesu achshel la'acher. It explains that her tzarosa, the competing wife, right, cannot bring her a get, even if this competing wife is now married to somebody else. Because of Rav Magid, the Lama Dinim, the Sham Medinim Dekan, and the Rav Magid said that he learned those laws from these laws. Lefizeh mashma, so it would seem from that lefura the einu ne'menes afilo ya'ash v'nesul acher. That so it would seem that she would not be in this case as well, right? Since by the get she's not trusted, even though she's married to somebody else now, right? So it was, and since that's learned out from here, so it would seem in this case too that even if this competing wife is now married to somebody else, she's not trust. She can't be witness. And the mechaber is paskins that she's not trusted even she's married to somebody else. But it could be that for that husband she cannot give witness. Because the whole point is that she wants that that's going to be hers. That you got because it's just we're saying, wait a second. What if she's married to another person? She already can't have this man, right?
Right.
She's remarried to somebody else already. She's no longer a competing wife. That means
Right.
she's usher on him. She's usher on him anyways. But we say in that case that, you know what, it's even so. Her feelings are going to be so strong about this because they're competing wives, right? That even though she can't have him, but let her also not have him. She just wants that you also shouldn't be able to have him. Even though I can't have him, but you also shouldn't be able to have him. That's how strong it is in this case.
If I can't have him,
yeah, nobody can.
If I can have him, no one can.
Well, or at least maybe somebody can, but not you. That you competed with me for him, because we have bad
Definitely,
blood.
definitely, you're my enemy. You're my.
Yeah. And not just that. I don't care if you get married to somebody else. I don't want you married to him.
Right.
Now, it was because of him. It was because of you that he divorced me in the first place. Whatever it is.
So maybe
that's why now I'm married to this schnook, because you made that guy divorce me. Now you made me also to him because I was miserable, so I married this schnook, and then I couldn't get remarried to him, and it's all your fault. And now I'm gonna say he's dead, so you should marry somebody else and also become also to him, and like this I can have my revenge.
Right.
So we don't trust her either case. Because of Tshuva Shar Ephraim Simukov Hey Tzarasa Ina Meida Afilu Im Hi something or another. Masich Levitumi. Even Masich Levitumi, we don't accept her testimony, right? We're like, remember before, even by a Mamish Apostle Eid Midei Raisel Masich Levitumi, we accept, but by Tzarasa we don't even accept Masich Levitumi. The ha maybe raya the kusi im emer pleni meis have a Masich Levitumi afilu below Kishud Dvarim. Right, even if it's not amongst other words, that he's amongst another conversation that came up. If he's Masich Levitumi, we accept by a guy, right? Medis Hasham Sevivam is Nishma Kollel Eretz Hatzvi Meis Mesiya Meisa. Nishma Kollel Eretz Hatzvi Meis Mesiya Meisa Vehikshu B'Shas Dilma Shindalid Haya. Oh, maybe it's a Shindalid looking to unless you know anything else about Shindalid. Maybe it's a Shindalid looking to make trouble. Or Dilma Tzarahaya, or maybe it was a competing woman. Right? Because over there it says in Sefer Vamis that if it comes out like a rumor comes out that they say, and I think that from what it said before, tachlis, we don't go by this, but if it comes out, a word gets out that he died, you can marry her. And they asked, wait a second, how do you know that the one that started this thing wasn't a shindalid or a tzara or a competing woman? And over there, it doesn't ask, how do you know he's not a goy? It only asks, how do you know it's not a shindalid or a tzara? Oh, maybe that's why tachlis. Maybe that's why we don't accept the rumor, because the rumor could be either from tzarasa or from a shindalid. And but it doesn't ask there. Maybe it was a guy. Why doesn't it ask? Maybe it was a guy. So we learn out from this that a guy is we would accept his eidus. Otherwise, in that question, they would have asked, how do you know it's not a guy who started this rumor? Because he doesn't have to say it amongst other words, like connected to as part of a larger conversation that has other topics. And it would have been and a guy would have been okay and therefore he doesn't ask there, how do you know it's not a guy? If you would say that tzara misich v'tumah is trusted, so why would he ask? How do you know the one who started that rumor is not tzarasa, right? And see more later. So I guess we'll do the Chagz Mechegik here. I feel Eina Ata Chamusa. We said Chamusa is not right. Her mother-in-law is not doesn't work, even if it's not now her mother-in-law, but rather just, and then they add the words of the Torah that it's the but it will be again her mother-in-law if the other brother has to marry her. Hatam Amru B'Yibamis the Miska Adaite Dilma Yomus Baila with people kamei Bino with Hikalasa. That she's worried about maybe her husband will die and her son will become married to this woman. So according to this, if for some reason she would not to be able to be miyabim to her son, like she's an ervet to him or whatever, something or some other reason, so then she would be allowed to testify, right? Because the whole reason we say she will testify is she doesn't want this woman to marry her son. So if it's not possible for this woman to marry her son, and there wouldn't be a yibum, in that case, so the chura she would be able to testify because she no longer cares about that. V'din zeh hu l'baya b'gemara daf hanal u'l'dasa beis Yosef v'naktinon l'hakil ha'il v'milsa David l'glui. So Beis Yosef says that it's going to come out the truth, so we can be makel in this case. And maybe bichlal nowadays that we don't do yibum at all, we can say that. So then this mother-in-law she has nothing to worry about. She's not worried about him marrying about marrying the other son because they're going to do yibum. So what does she gain by this whole thing? So therefore, she's not going to. She can her edus should be good. And also she can't bear witness for those five. So anyway, Chagz Mechegik feels that that he doesn't understand why the Ramah brings these words of the Torah. That meaning that it goes the other way also, that those five can't testify for her and she can't testify for those five, And he doesn't understand why he brought it, because the Mechaber already hints to it when he says Saina Zu, they hate each other. That means if they hate each other, it would go both ways. But in either case, the Ramah does actually bring it down. The Shmuel, the Elu Hein, and these are them, Chamusa, her mother-in-law, Hatam, who are B'Shas. Mishum the Emeres Zu Peichal Koli Giva Moli. She's going to say that this one, right, this girl is gonna consume all of my toil and effort. Right, meaning I worked hard and what do you call it? Now she's gonna come in, right? The daughter, her daughter's gonna say, "Oh, this one's gonna come and she's gonna take all the Yerusha. She's gonna take all the what do you call it? The inheritance. Yeah, from my mother and father, right? Because now she's gonna be married to this brother. The Yivamta Imeres Zut Yitzarasi. Right, so the Yavamta is going to say she's going to be competing with me for this guy. Right, meaning the wife of the brother, right? The wife of the brother that she would fall to should she become a Yavama. Right, she's going to say, yeah, if what's it called? He's miyabim her. Now I have a competing wife in my house.
That's funny.
Ubas Baila Imerezu Bavim Kenimi. The daughter of her husband is going to say, this one's going to come and stand in place of my mother.
Yes.
The Ubas Baila Imerezu Bavim Kenimi. The I don't know if you or whatever. In Yivamta, Misiyaris, Shemoti Yatzarasa. Of Efshulaima, I guess. In Yivamta, Misiyaris. No. The Ein Loimar. In Yivamta, Misiyaris, Shemoti Yatzarasa. Right? We don't say that if she's afraid that she'll become her competition in Cain, Mama Hani Edishalo. So what does her Edis help? We know after all that if somebody did an accidental yibum, right? Unlike other cases where now you're married to somebody else, you can't go back to the original husband. In the case of an accidental yibum, the guy appears again, she's mutter to her other husband. She's back mutter to the other husband. And still there is embarrassment. Maybe her husband will do chalitza and marry another woman and become also to this one and this one. Right, we said before that. Well, how about the people who are? I think this was in the already in the Chalkes Mechekes before. That the men who are similar to these women, right, like her father-in-law and the son of her mother-in-law, and the son of her husband. These they're nemonim, they're trusted. However, the Yabam, right, the brother she's going to fall. So even though we'll trust the corresponding men, which by the way, part of it just makes is logical sense, right? The woman is going to say, oh, she's going to come and inherit, but the boys, it's not, the boys are going to inherit before she does. So not worried about the same kind of thing, right? All these things that these other people are worried about, the corresponding men aren't, at least not directly worried about this thing. It's the same things. But how about the Yabam? The Yabam, the brother that she would fall to, he cannot give edus, and that would cause that she now becomes, that he can now be miyabim her, that he's allowed to now marry her. But if his brother had children, in which case she's not falling to him a yibum. A yibum is only if the brother didn't have any children. But once the brother has children, there's no yibum anymore. So he's trusted to make her mutter to other people, just not to himself. So it would seem that the wife of the brother is not trusted, even if the other one has children. Mashma because the fact that it says that the yabam can made, it's mashma that the wife cannot be made. Maybe the reason is because she's more worried than he is. She's worried that what if the kids die? In other words, because him right now, right, he can't. What do you call it? He's not making her mutter to himself, and he's not going to think so far out as to make her mutter to myself later if the kids die, but her that she's worried about having a competing wife to her husband. So maybe she's gonna worry more about that. What if the boys die? His children will die, and then she'll come to be a competition. If she the mitka died to the maize baila. So he says, so why not? So why not stretch this issue, right? Why are we only stretching it to the Yavamta and not to the mother-in-law, not to Chamusa? Why do we say that the wife of the brother, even if the other brother had children, she's gonna worry that maybe they'll die? Why don't we say the same thing by the mother-in-law? That the mother-in-law is gonna worry, what if the children die and then she'll become. And so he says that's different because Rashi already answered this. That Shani Tsar Hayavama Shehu Tsar Degufa, where it's Bitsar Shel Chamusa in El Machmas Mamin, because the mother-in-law is worried about just the financial things. This one has a bigger worry. It's she's going to be fighting with me. She's going to be a competing wife. It's a more personal thing. Whereas the mother-in-law, she's worried about money. So the worry about money doesn't go as far as when she's worried about a challenging wife. I'm reading plug. Also, we could say that what the Chazal said that she shouldn't testify. That we say there's no difference, like the Magid says, meaning that they can't free. The Magid says over there, but by the males, they didn't say nothing about. As I'm reading the the ikach shad lo yoid, aval heich the leikach shad shash yoid. So by the men we say dafka when there's an actual thing to worry about. They're actually in a geya somehow. They don't, whereas otherwise they do. Whereas by the women we can't say the same thing. Oh, b'chaks mechekik misupik b'zman hazeh de'in miyabnim, and like we said before, in the chaks mechekik he has a suffix of how about today where we don't do yibum. Im hayabam neman lahayit shemeis achiv, if the yabam is meaning the brother. Is the brother trusted to bear testimony that his brother died, lachleitz livama, and then to give her chalitza. Afal gav hayibama. Even though his wife, we won't allow to testify. In the mash from Betur, like it seems like from the Tur, shekoso b'simin zeh, Yevamti Eina Meida, that the wife of the brother doesn't give testimony. Mashma Filu Bizman Hazeh, so it sounds like even today. Gam HaMagid Reish Perek Zayin Kosav Yevamta Shehi Achisa Leisoid. Shma Mina Delay Plug Bein Yivam Yivama. So we see there's no difference between Yivam and Yivama. Because Malcolm and Lidmes Yabam Yivam, but still, even though we don't differentiate between a Yivama and a Yivama, between different kinds of Yivamas, but we do differentiate between a Yibum and a Yivama, between the man, the brother and the brother's wife. Mio Sham Mashma Afilu Im Bonim Lo that it sounds like for the Chacham Mechek is saying that even if he had sons, that he wouldn't he wouldn't be paskin to matter the testimony. Well, the Chura nida Afilu Mishahu Miyarehira Ein Chash Bozek Mashkosov be Shag Lehedia. The Aimich was Mari. Means okay. So anyway, he seems to be he seems to hold not like the Chacham Mechek there. Since the Chacham Mechek would hold that on that now there's just he was mistapik Bisman has what the deal is. But when it comes to what about if he has sons? Do we still worry about is the wife still allowed to testify, the wife of the brother, for the reason like we said before that maybe she's gonna be afraid that the kids will die and now she'll become a competing wife, but or so and which in that case it seems the Chacham Mechek was leaning not to be matir, and it seems like he feels that we should be matir. Tez Vav Afilu Eina Ata Chamusa. Sham Bayadoli Ifshita. So I guess the question here is, does it still extend, even though she's not Chamusa now? Because of Beseis Rif Rambam Svirule Lekula, the Rif Rambam hold the Beseis writes that the Rif Rambam they lean Lekula, that Ein Chamusa, that Ein Achshav Chamusa could, right? Because we see that wasn't the Mechaber's words. The Mechaber says Chamusa, and then the Ramah brings the words of the Tur Afilu Ein Ata Chamusa, Rak Yivama, Rak Ein Yivama, just the mother of her Yavam, right? Like she could become the Chamusa, but she's not the Chamusa now. So it would seem that's why the Mechaber doesn't bring that. He just says Chamusa, meaning implying only that it's now Chamusa. It's now his mother-in-law, not that it's the mother of the brother that could, right? Because I guess we're talking about a case. You have the father, right? These boys, they're brothers from the father, but they have a different mother, right? So I guess the brother from another mother would still have to be miyabim, the other brother. So we're talking about, so whose mother is, right? Is it only the actual mother-in-law, or is it the mother of the one who will end up being her yibum? Which the Mechaber doesn't bring that down. The mother from a brother from another, the brother from another mother. Well, the mother of the brother from another mother. So that mother, he doesn't bring it down. And it's because it seems that the like we see in Beis Yosef that he talks about the Rif and the Rambam, they're makel on that, and the Tur and Rabbeinu Yerucham and the Magid, meaning the Ramah, Sfira Leilechum, which is why the Ramah brought down the words of the Tur, the Eimi Yivamta also. So, anyways, Chumra Batam Hum Mishum the Mesik the Ata. The Yomos Bailov enough lokame ayabam de hubina. Meaning, right? Yeah. So because she's worried about that now that husband's dead, and who is she going to fall to? Her son. That's the reasoning for it. Now, what if she is not allowed to the son? If she would not be able to become the yavam of this, right? To this yavam, right? She wouldn't become the yavam of this son. She's also to him. Then in the Chagas Mechekek says that then she's allowed to testify. Why? Because she's not worried about she's going to fall to her son. Because he says anyway that he's not sure about the words of the Magid here. That maybe it's not so simple that she now can, since that doesn't apply, she could be able to be made. Right in the Kamon, Kol Elu Lo Yu'idu. See later how it says all of these they should not be made. Afilu the Chumra, even the Chumra, the Ayin, because why? Because if you can't make the Kuli, you can't. It seems like everything here goes both ways only. The Ayin Piski Maris and Rach V'Recha. So anyway, he's not so he's not so sure about what the Ramah brings about in other words or rather what the Chalkis Mechekek brings, because the Chalkis Mechekek says that that which we're talking about, right, that the Ramah brings from the Tur, that Eina Ata Chamusa Rak Ein Yivama, that's only if it's possible that she would become that she would fall to him. But if not, there's no problem. And he's not so sure about that. And that is the end of Dalit.